Hello, hello, and a big welcome to our special schools today, Shelton Park, Grady Brown Elementary, and Kempsville Meadows. My name is Brent Smith. I have Dangerous Dave on camera, and we're going to take you on your very own private school safari. I hope you're excited. Now, what we were looking at there was a little bachelor group of waterbuck. And if you look carefully on some of them, you can see it looks like they've sat on a freshly painted toilet seat. They've got a big white ring around their bottom, and that is a following mechanism. So the front of them can stay quite camouflaged, but when they're moving through the thick bush, the others can follow each other by following that big white ring. Now, they're disappearing off into the bush, and I'm looking for leopard today. So I found a female leopard with a little cub this morning, so I'm going to see if we can find them again. I'm hoping they're still sleeping in the same area. Now, I want lots of questions from you guys. If you guys don't send me questions, I'm going to start quizzing you. And I might have some tough questions for you to answer. So please send through your questions. Just give them to your teacher, and I can't wait to hear from you. Now, of course, I'm not the only one taking you on this special school safari, and my friend Steve's got a beautiful bird.
Yes, we do. The most colourful and the most beautiful bird you might find in the savannah. And hopefully he's going to turn around for us in a moment. There we go. Look at those colours. Isn't that gorgeous? It's almost as if one of you boys and girls back home have taken a black and white picture and you have coloured it in with your own crayons, don't you think? That is a lilac-breasted roller, and my name is Steve Falconbridge. I'm joined on camera by Fergus, and we are out on a game drive safari in Djuma, Sabi Sands, South Africa, where the wilderness is wild and diverse, and we're out, and we would love to show you some wonderful things this afternoon. So please send through your questions, your comments with the teacher. Let us know what you'd like to know and talk about, and we will see if we can accommodate you. We are on the search this afternoon of a young two-year-old male leopard by the name of Hosanna, and hopefully we'll find him in time for you still on the show. We're very excited. I had the morning off. Ferg and I had the morning off. We're feeling very fresh and good to go. Aren't you, Ferg? Yeah? How beautiful was that bird? It is a very common bird in the area. It feeds on insects, and they like to live in dead cavities in the holes of dead trees. So really, really marvelous bird. The most photographed bird in the Kruger National Park, and it is the national bird of Botswana and Kenya. So isn't that very interesting? What is the national bird of America? I do know the answer, but let's see if you boys and girls know what your national bird is. I hope you do. Don't be shy now, and you send your questions through. Tell us what you'd like to talk about. Michael, it does indeed lay an egg. And if I just maybe go back a touch and show you another type of tree, like the one we've just driven past. They probably lay about 3 eggs. And you can see this tree in front of us here. You can see that it's actually damaged and it is dead. And I'm going to walk up to it. And elephants have actually gone and taken the bark off of the tree. Because what you must understand is if you remove the bark around a tree like this, it's like taking off the blood vessels in your skin. No blood can get there. So no water or nutrients can get from the soil up into the tree. So they like to live in dead cavities in a tree like this. Woodpeckers will make the holes because there's insects inside eating the wood. But the whole process started by an elephant coming along, damaging the cambium, or the blood network system of the tree to feed on the nutrients in that tree. It's a natural process. Elephants are part of our ecosystem, but they make and create lots of these types of trees, which are called habitat trees. And elephants are regarded as an ecosystem engineer, which means they create the landscape. They damage, they break. It's very destructive. But the savanna biome, where we are, lots of grass and lots of trees behind me, is where these animals occur. And there's lots and lots of birds and mammals that like to live in trees just like that have been created by the feeding of elephants. So amazing. We can talk about the largest mammal in the world, or land mammal, creates something for the birds to lay their eggs inside. Lady Brown, you are 100% correct about the American bald eagle. Our the national bird in South Africa is called the blue crane, and I'll get a picture for you shortly while we go over to Taylor, who's got a very special African mammal.
Look at who we found. We found the tallest of them all. And not just one, but there are 3. Southern giraffe. We are very lucky because we don't actually see giraffe very often. Hello everybody, my name is Taylor, and on camera with me today is VM. And there are also some very, very noisy birds making a huge racket on the giraffe just behind us. So we have a little look at them because they're quite interesting. I think you'll find this very interesting. Now, I look forward to hearing your questions, and I'm sure that these oxpeckers are going to be on their best behavior. Now, those birds, like I said, are called oxpeckers, and they are eating the ticks, so the parasites that are eating on the blood of that animal. Now, I'm just going to move off the road very, very quickly, just so this guy doesn't ruin our shot. Sorry, everybody. We're on a main road at the moment, but I don't want this fella to chase the giraffe away, so I'm just going to park like this. And this giraffe is being very kind to us today. Thank you, girl. They're just going to fly to the next giraffe, but we're just going to let that delivery vehicle go past because we live out on the game reserve. There are lots of lodges here so that people can come on a safari, and of course they need food too, just like the oxpeckers. Now, oh, that one's got a long string of saliva coming out of her mouth. She's very gobby today. Ryan, you were asking, why are giraffes spotted? Well, lots of the mammal species out here, all the different animals, need to have some form of a camouflage. So those big blotches on their bodies will help camouflage them. And I suppose it's just like how some of us have got freckles, some don't have freckles. Some of us have blonde hair or brown hair or blue eyes or green eyes or brown eyes. It's all just in their genetic. But the southern giraffe, all of them, will have these big blotches, and some of them are darker than others, some have got lighter, but that's quite cool. That is very nice, don't you think? She's chewing. Look how tall she is as well. Now, Kana, you've asked about those things on top of the giraffe's head, and you've asked, do all giraffe have horns? So those actually aren't horns. I'm going to teach you a big word now. Those are called ossicones. So you can say it, ossicones. It's a pretty easy word to say, I suppose. Now, a horn is typically something that is a bony structure with keratin. So like the stuff on your nails, we call that keratin, what your hair is made of, and it has a coating. So like those waterbuck that Brent showed you, the boys have got horns. This is just bone with just hair on the outside. There's no keratin sheath on it. So we call these ossicones, and that's fused to their skull. Now, they don't necessarily use them for fighting, well, especially the girls. The boys use theirs for fighting, however, but he's disappeared, so I can't show you now how much bigger his ossicones are than the girls. But they'll swing their necks at one another when they are fighting, and then they'll use those little ossicones as sort of weapons. Now look at it. Look at her long tongue. Look at her long black tongue. And look how she's able to pull the leaves off very, very delicately. Giraffe, of course, tall enough to eat the tops of the leaves on the trees. Now, Tyson, you've asked if I think that the giraffe would be happy with me if I was on foot. It depends how close you got to them, and I suppose it depends how many times these giraffes have seen people on foot that would be able to sort of give the answer to that question. I think if I were to get out the car now, they would run away from me. They'd get a fright. But maybe if they saw me coming from a few hundred meters away, because giraffe have got very good eyesight, so that you can very rarely hide from a giraffe or sneak up to a giraffe, they would spot me. And maybe if I sat down in the grass, they'd actually be quite curious of me and come a little bit closer. But giraffe are really cool to walk with on foot, but you wouldn't be able to walk underneath its stomach. It will never let you get close enough because it sees us as a predator too. So they'll move away from us. They'll run away if it feels like we are getting too close to them. Now they've got that very, very dark black tongue though, and you saw it was nice and black. And it's important that it is dark like that because it spends a lot of time out of their mouth, so it can get a bit sunburnt. So it's got lots of melanin in it. Now, Mrs. Torso, you've asked if the oxpeckers would hurt the giraffe. Unfortunately, all the oxpeckers have... Mrs. Porter, my apologies. There's one lingering around. So you've asked if they would hurt the giraffe. Not necessarily, not to the point where it's going to kill a giraffe. So they're basically feeding on the blood of the parasites, of the ticks and the mites. But the problem is that if a giraffe were to have a wound of sorts and it was bleeding, they can aggravate that wound. So they'll peck at it and sometimes make it bleed a little bit more. So they stop the wounds from healing as quickly as they should. But like I said, it's not going to be enough that it's going to end up killing the giraffe. It's just going to irritate it more than anything. Look at that, using their beak like scissors. Very cool though. Right, off you go to Steve, who's got a very, very pretty bird.
Yes, we found another beautiful bird. This one is actually iridescent blue in the light, and it is one of our starling species, and it is another bird that lives in cavity holes in dead trees. But if Fergus just goes out a little bit, you'll see that this is not actually a dead tree. This is a magnificently big specimen, and the reason we stopped is there's a beautiful nest in the middle of the tree, which is probably for a large raptor of sorts, something similar to a snake eagle or a batelier eagle. So here in the savannah, we've got, as I said, lots of grasses, but then lots of trees. So many birds have evolved to live in nests within the trees in the savannah biome, and that's what gives us such a big diversity. If we just had the grasses, then we'd only have birds that can live on the ground. But because we've got the trees, the living trees, as well as the dead trees, we get so many more different species that can grow there and live there and breed there. And so I'm going to show you a little picture of the batelier eagle, and this is probably one of the prettiest eagles you will ever see. It's not a true eagle, though. Have a look at that. Look at that beautiful, beautiful bird. Well, Jaron, you want to know if there's any birds with red feathers? This one's got a red face, and yes, I will show you really quickly. There's actually a whole family of birds called the Turacos that have got red feathers, and I'll show you that very quickly while Ferg quickly looks up at the tree. I'll find it for you. 75. There we go. I found the picture. There's a whole page of birds here with some really beautiful, beautiful feathers. And we find most of these down here in South Africa, not necessarily in the savanna biome. We get these two, the bottom one, the purple crested, we get here, and the grey go-away bird, we get here in the savanna biome. But that red, you can see it. It's a pigment in the feather that they actually get a lot of it from the food they eat. And if you look at the picture, it's feeding on some fruits. They feed on lots of fruits, and they get lots of iron from the fruit that they eat on. And there's a pigment inside the feather that actually gives the family the name. So it's a very, very cool name. You can see there it says Turaco, and that is called Turasin. I know it's a very big word. Don't worry about remembering it, but it's what gives this family their name. And those feathers are the only true red that we find here in nature. And the green on the back, it's the only true green pigment in birds found in South Africa. And that's also got a Turasin in it, but a Turaco verdin. I know it's very, very big words, but Turaco is named after those two pigments. And aren't those birds just beautiful? Beautiful, beautiful. So we're going to go over to Taylor, who's found something from the Lion King.
We have its Pumbaa. Well, maybe not exactly Pumbaa, but one of Pumbaa's cousins, and there's the rest of the cousins running in the background. We'll see. Maybe they might come back again. They're just hiding behind the bushes, but we have them set in a trap because warthogs love to wallow in the mud, and there's a little pan just to the right of where we are. So maybe they're going to come and visit us again. Let's see. But these are really cool creatures. Actually, no, I think I might have to move for them. Let's go back. Now, Scarlett, what a great question. There's one warthog that you can see. You've asked, are the animals always on the road? No, look at these ones aren't on the road at all. They're near a road, but I think that's just because they're eating here. So, funny enough, there's not that many roads like if you compare how much grass there is here. There's only a couple of roads. So they do use the roads when they can because it's easy for them to walk on. It's like if you had to choose and you're walking in a forest, would you try and climb over all the trees and all the thorns and the stinging nettles and all those wonderful things? Well, they're not so wonderful. Or would you try and walk on a pathway that maybe somebody has already made for you? You'd probably choose the animal pathway or the footpath that has been worn by people walking there. And the animals will do the same thing. So they don't have to use them all the time. They just use them every now and then. But when they're feeding like this, and that's what they're doing, they're having lunch at the moment, there's no need for them to be on the road because there's no food there. And they're very hungry, trying to eat as much grass as they can before it turns all brown. Oh, hello little one, this is a young pig. Now, Tyson, you've asked, why do they run with their tails in the air? Pretty cool when they do that, hey? So that is a type of a follow me sign. Now remember the waterbuck that you saw with Brent? We can go back to them. You saw that white ring on their bottom, or maybe they weren't facing you, but they do in fact have a white ring, and there's a waterbuck there. I can just show you. So that is the waterbuck's follow me sign, and then the warthog has a long tail which it can point into the sky, so that when they're running in the long grass, see that warthog has to stand on his tippy toes to be able to see over the top of the grass. But if it just puts its tail up, the rest of the group can actually see which direction they need to be going in. And the same thing goes with the waterbuck. That white ring stands out. Oh, look at this. Look how they've gone down on their knees. You see that? Now they've got almost like calluses. Their skin has become very, very tough on their joints. And now, Damrion, this sort of, and Damrion and Jordan, this will answer your question. The reason why they go down on their knees like that is so that they can reach the grass a little bit easier. So at this time of the year, though, they're mainly eating the grass seeds, but they're going to dry out fairly quickly. And then the other thing that they really, really like to eat is the grass roots. So they've got a tough nose as well. They kind of use it like a spade, and they'll dig all the grasses up, and then they eat the roots. But the ground is quite far away when they stand up. So going down on their knees means that they're more efficient. It means that they're able to sort of feed a lot easier than standing up. That's quite cool, hey? I wish I could do that. Now, another thing that's really cool, look at this little pig. You see those white tufts of hair coming from its face? Now, the adults get big tusks that protrude just from beneath their snout. But when they're young, they haven't got those tusks. You see, there's the tusks. And the predators will see them, the lions and leopards. And we'll bring Aiden's question into this as well. Why do the warthogs have tusks? So it's for protection. They'll protect themselves with that, and then those little warthogs will trick the adult warthogs into thinking that they've got big tusks already, but they don't because they're too small. They haven't grown yet. Now there's another safari vehicle coming past, so they're just going to sneak on around us, and then we'll carry on. But the warthogs sometimes get a bit of a fright with a car, as you can see, and then they run away. But they'll settle down again, just like they did with us, and then they'll carry on. Okay, we'll go find some other animals. Okay, we'll try to find some more warthogs. Dion, no, you want if what they do, they make lots of different sounds. They make squealing noises too, but they do a lot of grunting and snorting. It's quite funny to hear, but most of the animals out here are going to be quiet. They don't want to make lots of noise unless you're a bird. And birds are always very chatty. But the waterbuck, the warthogs, they typically keep quite quiet, because if they make a lot of noise, then the predators are going to hear them, and then they're going to know where to go and look for food. So they don't normally talk too much. They kind of whisper very softly to one another. Sometimes they're whispering so softly we can't even hear what they're saying anymore. Right, who is going to be our next animal? I'm trying to get into a good position. Hello, Impala. the animals out here are very dangerous. Even the impala, which we are looking at now, are super, super dangerous. These guys don't have horns, because these are the girls. But if you were to be head-butted by a female waterbuck, I can promise you, you would probably cry. It would be so sore. And even just if they're running at full speed towards you. So lions could hurt you. Those warthogs could definitely hurt you. They're very, very tough creatures. A giraffe that we saw earlier, that could kick you. That would be very, very sore. But again, they wouldn't let you get too close to them. Crocodiles would eat you. Hippos would probably not eat you, but they'd bite you and you might have to go to hospital. Leopards, lions, hyenas, potentially all the animals out here are dangerous, which is why, even though some of them don't necessarily eat meat, and not that a lion or a leopard or a hyena really wants to eat a person, but if they feel threatened, if you put them in a situation where you make them scared and you think that they have to fear for their lives, then you might be in a little bit of trouble. So it's always important to give animals room, give them some space. You can hear lots of trucks today. Very, very busy. Must be delivery day. I'm glad we're not on that road. Those giraffe all moved away. Now, Kate, I didn't know what your question is, because please may I have it again? It went in one ear and out the other. Do all animals bath? They do. Most of them do. Sometimes some animals don't need water. For instance, an impala is not going to wash itself with water. They just lick themselves. And there's a wildebeest over there that was just licking himself. Wildebeest are funny creatures because they are forever rolling around in their own dung and love rolling around in dust too. So they're not really too clean, even though they have a very shiny coat. And then impala even groom each other. Wildebeest, I haven't really seen too many wildebeest grooming one another. You sometimes see the mom grooming the little one, but that's a boy. That's a male wildebeest. So it just depends. And then birds love to bath in the water. And then just like that wildebeest and a zebra also like to do it, and the birds, is that they roll around in dust. So you're probably thinking, but Taylor, that's not cleaning yourself. Not at all. That's doing the opposite. That's making yourself dirty. But what it is doing is that it's suffocating. It's killing all the parasites, all the ticks that those oxpeckers, those birds we saw on the giraffe, were feeding on. So if the oxpeckers don't do the job, then they can sometimes roll around and get rid of their ticks and parasites just by dust bathing. But it's very nice out here. Right, let's go to Brent to see if he's managed to find some leopards.
Well, they're not where we left them sleeping a bit earlier, so we're going through the thick bush here off the road to try see if we can find them again. I don't think they would have moved far. There is some water close by, so I'm going to go check if they maybe went for a drink. So watch out for the thorns coming through here. You got it there, Dave? Now, hello, Rebecca. A few weeks ago, an elephant did die. And it's a bit of a sad story, Rebecca. What happened is it was killed by another male elephant. So they were fighting for, well, ladies. There was a big elephant bull, and he was chasing all the other boys away because he wanted all the girls for himself. And his tusk went under that other elephant's armpit and hit some vital organs, and that is how that elephant died, unfortunately. But that does happen. That is nature. So I'm just going to do a quick check up on the road to see if the mommy leopard maybe left the baby here, because what happens when she gets hungry, she has to leave the baby in one place and then she'll go out hunting. So we're going to go check on the road to see if she did that. Now, most animals, Collier, have a very good sense of balance. and they don't fall out of trees, but every now and then you see something funny. I've seen baby leopards, when they're playing, fall out of the tree. I've seen baby baboons fall out of trees, and even baby monkeys, but not very often. Okay, so now I want to see if I can see any footprints for the leopards. So I'm going to check very carefully along here. Lillian, yes, they do. The vehicles do sometimes break down, or we get a flat tire, but normally we fix them quickly so we don't have to interrupt the safaris. Something just scared a whole flock of mouse birds. I wonder if that was the leopard. Now, they're called mouse birds because they've got a long tail like a mouse. Other than that, they've got very little to do with mice. And let's just check very carefully in here. I don't think they would have moved too far. It's been quite hot today. Okay, I'm going to have a quick look on foot here. While I do that, let's go see what Steve's found now.
We have found some marvelous creatures called Wildebeest, which, if you translate that from the Dutch or the Afrikaans, actually means wild cow. Because the first people to South Africa, when they saw these things, they looked like cows that had gone a little bit mad, because they tend to get quite excited and run around in circles, and they are beautiful. I heard some noises coming from this area. It sounded like some zebras making a bit of a distress call. So we came quickly back here to see if we could find them, and we have a roadblock of wildebeest in the road. What can you do when there's a roadblock? You just have to stop and wait. So to answer Taylor's question, sometimes you do find animals in the road. They don't really see it as a road. They see it as a more soft spot without any thorns and sticks. And so just a bit of a sandy patch. And wildebeest are actually very, very renowned for making these sort of sandy patches. They can be quite destructive to the environment, but naturally it is a good sign. But too many wildebeest in an area can be a problem. Up in Kenya, these animals move huge distances in search of food. Dion, if you have a look, Fergus is going to frame in on them. You want to know, what do wildebeest eat? And they are grazers. They are short grass grazers. They feed on quite low cropped grass. So they quite often follow zebra that have got teeth in the top and the bottom of their mouth, very similar to us. And they're able to chomp the grass right down. But wildebeest, like many other animals like them, don't have teeth in the top of their palate. They just have a very hard palate, but then teeth on the lower jaw. So they can only crop the grass very, very low. They feed on the sort of the new growth, the new shoots. And you can see how well designed their very long neck is to enable them to reach all the way down. Diana, yes, you want to know how their legs hold them up. Well, they are not that skinny, the legs. The legs are actually very strong, and there are 4 of them spreading out the weight of the entire animal. So the bone inside is very strong, and there's muscle throughout the body. They don't really need the muscle in the legs like we do, like our calf muscles. You can see the bottom of that one there. They've got very powerful muscles in their rump and in their shoulders, which enables them to run very, very fast over a long distance. These animals are known as endurance runners, and if you've ever seen anyone who runs a marathon, they are not very thick-legged people. They are quite thin, and their legs are quite skinny, but they're very, very fit, and all their muscles play a very important part in running long distances. And here, these guys are taking a nap in the road. So you can see it's not very hot. They're sitting in the sunshine, so they don't need to cool down too much. Talking about cooling down, let's go back over to Taylor with an animal that's constantly wet.
It's a hippo! And we might even get to hear them sing their beautiful song too. Ooh, lots and lots of hippos here. A big family of them. I'm trying to count them all. But it's really difficult to try and guess how many hippo are here because, as you can imagine, they go underwater and they can stay underwater for such a long time. Look, there's another family of hippo too. And they've all been resting. Ooh, what's happening there? Looks like a bit of an argument. Somebody stepped out of line. Now, it's very difficult to tell the difference between the boys and the girl hippos. But it is easy because you can just find the ones that have got babies at their sides and then you know that those are the girls, and there are lots and lots of moms in this pod of hippos. So that's what we call a group of hippos, a pod or a raft. There's one. No. Asia, yes, they will kill people. They will indeed. Hippos are one of the most... Deja, sorry. They will kill hippos. No, they won't kill hippos. Hippos will kill people because they're one of the most dangerous animals in Africa. And the reason why they are so dangerous, even this little one that you're looking at could cause you some serious trouble, is that lots of people throughout Africa still use rivers and dams and things like that to wash their clothes, to wash their pots and pans, and even to go and have a bath. Or if you're on a canoeing safari, perhaps, or you're just fishing, you have to be very, very careful because hippos don't like people very much and they're very protective, especially moms over their little ones, and there'll be one big bull, one big dad in the family too, and he doesn't like anybody to come near them. So, where they're most dangerous is when they're out of the water. It's because they don't feel very safe. They feel very happy when they're in the water. You can see they're not angry with us at all. But when there's some little ones climbing out just on the other side. Look at the little tiny hippos. Here they are. Those are babies. Can you believe it? They're so big. So when the hippos leave the water, when the sun goes down to get some grass, because that's what they eat grass. And if you come in between a hippo and the water, they're going to panic. And they're going to run straight back towards the water. And if you are in their way, you will get trampled. And if you get too close to them on a canoeing safari, you're going to be in a lot of trouble too. They're going to tip you out of the canoe, and if the hippo doesn't kill you, then the crocodiles might snatch you up. So there's also lots of crocodiles in this dam. So you have to be very, very careful around all the wild animals, and you must remember that they are wild. That's a big hippo. Hey, look at that one. Huge. Elder, yes, you're quite correct in thinking that hippos have milk for their babies. So those babies have to suckle, so they have to drink the milk. They drink the milk out on land, but they spend most of their day in water. So they have to hold their breaths and go under and drink milk from underneath the water, which is pretty amazing skill to have. So they'll also go and do that. But most of the time you don't see much of a hippo. You just see their eyes and their ears and their nose, kind of like what we're seeing now. So count yourselves lucky that you got to see those little baby hippos out in the open or standing up in the shallow spots. Well, we'll sit with these hippos for a little bit longer. Let's go and see if Brent is any closer to those leopards.
Well, I'm hoping we are. So what we're doing is we're driving around the area where they were to make sure they haven't left. So I'm still looking very carefully for footprints. So I always start on the side I think they're most likely not to go. And I do that, so we've ruled out that side. There's no sign of their tracks there. Now I'm coming to the area where I think we've got a good chance of finding their footprints. So it's always half the thing about tracking is knowing where they didn't go as well as knowing where they went. But rather than starting where you think you've got the best chance, I always start on the opposite side, rule that out, and now we head into the area where I think we've got the best chance, and we work slowly from there. Now, I'm hoping that she is still down here. Now, hello Titan. Titan, yes, baby leopards climb trees from very young. It is one of their defense mechanisms. So they are able to climb from very young so they can get away from lions and hyenas and even buffalo. So we're hoping, so quite often when we're driving around, we're really hoping to find leopard tracks. But when I'm up here, because I'm close to a boundary, I'm really hoping not to find leopard tracks. And I didn't, so that's good news. Now, leopards don't always walk down the roads. That's why I have to check very carefully, just in case they crossed. And I know I'm not the only one looking for leopards. So Steve is also looking for leopards. See how his search is going.
Well, we heard, as I said before, we heard some shouting noises from some zebras, and we've come towards the western side of our property. I've got their tracks in the road. They're walking. I'm not sure how far away they're going to be, but we could hear them. And the alarm call that they're making, quite often it's something to indicate the presence of lions or something like that. So I'm going to play it for you quickly so you can understand what I'm listening to. I'm going to play it. Just have a quick listen. One more time. How cool is that? Okay, so now that is the alarm call of a zebra, and they often make that when they're being chased or hunted by lions. We don't know if there's going to be lions, but we're in the area. We're going to find the habitat that they're going to be in. Zebra like to feed in open areas where there's tall grass, and they've been walking in the road, which to me means they're not very comfortable with the bush here, which is quite thick, quite dense, and they're moving along in the road. Maybe I'll show you a track quickly. You can get them over there, Ferg. Lillian, I don't. You want to know if I have to worry about getting lost? No. We used to, when we were new at this. Can you see these over here? Typical horse type of track. It's a half moon shape. There's a little baby over there, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, more than 8 animals walking here. So that's about the right size of a breeding herd of zebra. Breeding herd of zebra is one big male, we call the stallion, and then his ladies, and then their babies. And they'll move together, and he'll protect them against lions and things like that. And Lillian, we don't really get lost out here because we get used to direction, and I always know where the sun is. There's lots of other things we can use out here to tell direction. And but it does take some practice. In the beginning, most certainly, we do get lost. And it's one of those things that you have to practice. Have to practice and practice and practice. So we're hoping we're going to find you some zebra, because they are the marvelous and historically famous painted horse, which goes back in history many years back, where people thought they were mythical creatures, and they were actually, well, some people think they're horses with pajamas, but we know that they're not that. And they're one of the favorite animals next to the giraffe that people come to Africa to see. So I'd love to be able to show you one. And that other amazing animal that Taylor's already been talking about, let's go back and see what fun things they're up to.
They're still just doing very hippo things at the moment. Just enjoying the sun, enjoying a cool day. It hasn't been too hot today. There's been a bit of a breeze, and I think the hippos would have been very, very happy with that today. Snorting, blowing bubbles. Now, Destiny, a great question from you about whether hippos sleep underneath the water. So they can hold their breaths for about 6 minutes. But that's not long enough to have a siesta, now is it? I'd say a siesta is at least 10 to 15 minutes. But what they have the ability to do is they have this, basically the same response as you and I have to breathing. We don't have to think about breathing. So a hippo doesn't have to think about bobbing up and down in the water. It goes up and down by itself. So it can have little siestas. It can close its eyes and have a rest, and it'll just come up and down for breaths when it needs to. And how they normally like to rest is they bunch up together, and then you'll often see them resting their heads on one another quite a bit. But now they're not very sleepy, and I'm glad for that. They are getting ready to wake up because in just a little while, I'm just trying to see what the time is, in about 2.5 hours time, the sun is going to go down and the hippos are going to come out of the water, because that's when they start their day. They have night shift, whereas some of the other animals have day shift. See, that one's hiding from you now. There he is. And Michael, you are asking if I think that hippos mind if it's windy. I don't think so. I think because they're spending most of their day in the water, and if they wanted to, they could just hide away behind some of these little islands over here that will protect them for the wind. Oh, look at this. Open your mouth. Look at those big teeth. How cool was that? Thank you, hippopotamus. That was very kind of you. So no, I don't think that they mind. Some of the other animals that are living outside of the water, they don't like the wind very much. Like this morning, we saw a lot of the different animals heading into the thickets, into all the sort of areas where there was lots and lots of trees, because they can't hear very well. The wind muffles the sound, but the hippos don't mind that too much. Maybe on a windy night, they'd be a little bit more skittish, so they might get a fright a little bit easier, which would make them even more dangerous. I promise you, won't believe how quickly these hippos can move on land. I mean, they're quite fat with short little legs, but they can go. They can move those little legs really, really, really quickly. That was very cool. Now, there's some cool little birds as well up in the tree that I want to show you. There's some go-away birds just up on top. You may have heard them. They were making a strange sound, going quack, quack, which was quite a funny sound to hear, hey? So that's why they are called go-away birds. They're shouting at you, telling you to go away. A lot of the birds actually get their names from the sounds that they make. So there's a bird called a hoopoe. Maybe some of you have seen a hoopoe. And it goes whoop, 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 whoop. Which is quite cool. These are lovely birds. They're good birds to have around, because if there's going to be a leopard or a lion, these birds will spot them and then they'll shout out. But I think that they've come to have a drink of water. They seem to be a little bit hot today. Now, poor Brent is not having much luck at all with the leopards this afternoon. But maybe you can all shout on 3. 1, 2, 3. I should probably tell you what you should need to shout. Say, good luck, Brent, in finding leopards. And I'll send you back to him.
Well, thank you very much, Taylor. Well, we haven't given up yet, and I don't give up easily when it comes to finding leopards. So we've done our big loop across, and we're hoping that she is still just in those thickets where we were a bit earlier. And who knows, maybe we'll get you a last-minute leopard for your school drive. Marja, our monkeys here will not take a hat if you're wearing it. Monkeys that have become very used to people, yes, they might take your hat. I know they do it I think it's in Thailand. And even some of them have been trained to do it, naughty monkeys. But no, our monkeys will not take your hat while you're wearing it. Our monkeys won't come near us. They're wild monkeys. Okay, so let's look very carefully from here. She could be anywhere around here. There's one little water hole I want to check carefully. I'm a bit far away from Galago Pan. I think Steve's closer. So there's some Inyala going, bah, bah, which means leopard if you speak Inyala. Now, do leopards roar? Yes, they do. Dion, yes, they do, Dion. They have got a special cartilage in their throat that enables them to roar, but their roar doesn't sound like what you would expect. It sounds more like someone sawing wood. So it sounds like this. So that's what a leopard's roar sounds like. Okay. I think they're around here somewhere. Come on, leopards. Make a last-minute appearance for us. Oh dear. I think I'm going to go check that waterhole quickly. Okay, let's look at the waterhole very quickly before we say goodbye. Is there any leopard here? No! Oh dear. Nothing at the waterhole, but a big thank you to Shelton Park, Grady Brown and Kempsville Meadows Elementary Schools for joining us on your very own special school drive. For the rest of you staying on board, I think Steve's racing towards where there's a Nyala alarm calling at Gallagher Pan.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the normal start of the show, and please feel free to send your questions and comments through to hashtag Safari Live, or follow us as usual on the YouTube stream. This is live and interactive for those of you who are new to the show, and we are excited. We heard, myself and Ferg heard zebras initially alarm calling from this general area. We had some tracks of the zebra coming down a road called Galago, which is kind of west of our camp. And the tracks sort of veered off into that block. We then had reports from James, who's in camp himself. He heard some Nyala's alarm calling, which is a loud, oh, oh, something like that. And it was coming from the same sort of area. I was trying to pinpoint what area that zebra alarm call was coming from. And now with James saying that the alarm calls of the Nyala are coming from Gallagher Pan, we've kind of narrowed down our search. So we are just turning in. We'll be getting into the pan in the next few minutes, but also listening and keeping our eyes very well peeled to the surroundings. It could be a leopard, it could be a lion. I mean, zebras would also alarm call to leopards. I've seen a young zebra be killed by a leopard before, and then the family went absolutely ballistic for the longest time. It's very sad, really. I honestly believe that female was mourning her offspring. It was a very sad day for her, but a very good day for that leopard because he got a meal. See, we are back again. This is where we passed the tracks. We're just going to come down this next little left. Who knows what we could find? The anticipation. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, this is 100% live. We have no idea what we might find around the next corner. No idea. And as you've seen, those of you who've been watching the show, we often find predators because of the alarm calls of prey animals. And yesterday, if you were watching last night, we had Tingana, and as he was walking down the road, and Nyala saw him, and that same barking sound. And they are, in my opinion, Nyala, very, very reliable indicators of something furry with sharp teeth and claws. So we're not far away now. How is everyone this afternoon, evening, morning, wherever you might be? It is Thursday. Ferg, is it Thursday? Is it Wednesday? I'm quite sad because Fergus goes on leave the day after tomorrow. We've had a marvellous 2.5, 3 weeks together. We've practically driven every safari together. I think there's been 3. We've been punctuated with 3 in between. So it's been marvellous working with you, Ferg. But the anticipation is building. One more left turn and we are in Galago Pan, keeping our eyes very well peeled. Ooh, Justin, I think a Vervet Monkey. That's my attempt, Vervet Monkey. But I like Vervet Monkeys. They're also very, very reliable. And what's nice about vervets is when you go into an area, you can actually see them sitting on top of a tree and they're looking at the predator. They look at it. Whereas in Nyala, you've actually got to get in there and find the animal on the ground and then see where it's looking. Kudu, I love the base of the kudu's call. Okay, so just for reference, we have got a Battalier eagle up on the right here. Often the first animal to find a kill. But we're going to go into the pan first and then we'll come back. Battalier eagle, first ones to find a carcass. So if something is there, we'll be right back. But let's just quickly turn left. Sure, this left is never coming. We're almost all the way back. Nearly there, nearly there. Here it is. Apologies for my eye contact. We are scanning. Now this is the road. Also want to see tracks in and out. We know Hosanna was quite far down the drainage river system, the Milwaukee, from here this morning, but as you know, that very spirited young cat tends to move marvelous distances in the middle of the day, so he did not read the leopard guidebook on the behavior to African mammals. He's writing his own as we speak. And Gallagher Pan is a little pumped pan just next to Gallagher Lodge, which is just here. Our camp is a little bit further to the right here. And it is marvelous how many interactions with large wild animals we have right here on our doorstep. Obviously the water being there is the draw card, which brings them in. There's some Nyala footprints in the soft sand. Whoa! Whoa! That's my attempt at a baboon. I might need some water, Steph. Baboon is a very loud barking animal. Did I give you a fright, Kirst? I'm sorry. You asked me if I could do one, and I just went straight off the bat, you know. You see, if you build it up for too long, you kind of like pull yourself out of it. But if you just go straight for the alarm call, because you know that's the objective, is to alarm those around you. And Kirsten's just telling me in my ear that I alarmed her there. So I'm sorry, Kirsten. It was fully my intention. Okay, so here we come into the pan. We keep very close eye. Obviously, just because it came from this general area doesn't mean it happened right at the water's edge. Very nice area here. We've had tumba here many times. It's a very tricky drainage system to track in there, so hopefully we will get a sign of something soon. I love this anticipation. This is the true meaning of safari, adventures in search of wild animals under African skies. I can feel Fergus in the back. He's taut with anticipation. Aren't you, Ferg? Okay, so those Franklin there are looking quite relaxed. And the birds are always a good one. The predators often move off. There's some more Nyala tracks. The predators often move off. We saw Tingana yesterday. As soon as that Nyala barked at him, he just walked straight away. So Impala here looking very chilled. Very relaxed. I'm going to look for those zebra tracks as well, because my feeling is those zebra were involved in the probably the first initial viewing of whatever it is that startled them, and then possibly that animal or those animals moved into the thicket, and once it got into the thicket, that's when the Nyala, who like to frequent these very thick areas, spotted him. Just going to have a quick listen, see if there's any more alarm calls coming. Clifford wanted to know what animal has got the loudest alarm call. I'm going to play it for you. That, Clifford, is a kudu. The reason they alarm call like that and so deep is because of the vegetation that they occur in. The Nyala is quite similar to that. It's just a little bit less bass. Okay, well, nothing urgently rattling nearby. Let's keep going. We are in a little drainage river crossing here, so hopefully we're not going to lose your signal. But this would be the ideal spot for leopard to have sort of crossed or moved into. I thought I heard some Franklin alarm calling. It's always very exciting, even if you don't find something. The heart rate picks up. So James had a hukumuri here just the other day, somewhere here on foot. It could be anyone. Could be anything, really. Good chance, though, that it's a leopard. Ferg is keeping his eyes peeled. We haven't seen the Nyala yet. Normally they kind of, if they can, they'll actually follow that predator as long as they can, because as soon as they lose sight of the predator, that's when the predator becomes dangerous. A leopard that a Nyala can see is not really a dangerous leopard, because the Nyala can just sort of hop, skip and jump away from him. They are very awkward looking when they run, but they do manage a little bit of speed. Okay, so James heard it coming from behind Michelle's house. So maybe we've gone a bit far now, and actually was in the drainage, dry riverbed, right there below the pan itself. We might go spend a few minutes more down there. We have lots of time this afternoon. Ferg and I have had quite a good run of leopards in the last 2 days, so hopefully we'll be able to find a cat for you this afternoon. Even if we just find those Nyala, it'll give us an indication of really where to look. Because looking at that Impala, he was very relaxed, but a Nyala that's been barking is going to be a little bit fidgety. But it seems like Brent's managed to get back to his vehicle. Let's see if he's had any luck with tracking down that beautiful leopardess.
Well, we have had some luck. We found some tracks on top of our tracks from this morning, heading up this little river system. So there's a couple of nice little Timbweti thickets where Tandi might leave the cub. Now, if we have no luck here this morning, or this afternoon, it's very important tomorrow morning to check that closest water hole. Because she might go there for a drink, unless we find tracks over here now. Now, sometimes it's better to change your angle. That's why I look backwards, actually past where there's better light. So there's a good little area around here. Now, we saw some monkeys a bit earlier, and if the monkeys had found her during the day, that's probably the main reason why she would have moved up away from that, close to that little pan from the tracks there. Could have drunk there today, Nyala, monkeys. So if the monkeys were alarm calling at her during the day, she would have moved out of sight and then rested up again somewhere where she was out of sight of the monkeys. I saw some movement in that Timbweti thicket there, Dave. Oh, it's so dark. I can't see anything now. Okay, I'm going to go have a closer look there on foot. While we do that, let's send you back to Madam McCurdy.
Hello everybody, and And welcome to the Sunset Safari. If you have just jumped on board with us, it's great to, of course, have you all here. My name is Taylor, just in case you forgot my name, and Liam's behind the camera. Also, remember, you can ask us questions, because this is a live and interactive safari. Yes, it's happening right now in the Sabi Sandville in South Africa. So hashtag Safari Live on Twitter, or you can also talk to us via the YouTube chat. Now, we've been trying to find some tracks of Chitwa, which is a female leopard that lingers around in this area of Chitwa. However, we've had no sign of her. We have found some male leopard tracks, however. So we're trying to figure out who has left these tracks behind. I think we're going to go up this road. In fact, let's go have a little squiz down here. This is the road that runs parallel to the airstrip. And I've been lucky on here a few times. Right. BM really needs to see a leopard. Ooh. Okay, now, Justin, seeing as though you asked this question to Steve a little while ago about being what animal gives off my favorite alarm call, Steve said. Was it a Vervet Monkey, or did he do a baboon? It was a baboon, hey, Kirsten. Oh, he did baboon, okay. My favorite alarm call must be... Now I'm trying to think, Justin, you put me on the spot. What about... I quite like a leopard. Leopard's got quite a cool... No, it's not an alarm. It's not an alarm call. Why did I say that? Not an alarm call. They've just got a great call, just in general. I don't know. I'm trying to think of something like bizarre and strange. VM? Reedbuck. Oh, the whistle. Yes, that's true. Reedbuck whistle, that's what VM says. That's quite a cool alarm call. Actually, I miss hearing that sound on the Mara. It's a very high-pitched whistling sound. I don't think I could make it. That's a very cool alarm. I can't... No, I'm not going to try. It's just a whistle. VM, can you make the... It's too high. It's so high. VM's just giggling because he's like, there's no ways that any of us can make that sound. I don't know, Justin. I can't think of anything. I wonder what a frog, like a release call, like a distress call, a bushveld rain frog. I don't think they make that sound, but it's a very high-pitched sort of squeal, screaming, and type vibe. Jackals make funny alarm calls the way that they bark at lions. That was quite cool to see. We actually had some amazing sightings with the jackal pups alarming at lions at sort of quite close proximity as well. So they make interesting ones. I don't know what else. I don't know what other alarm calls I like. I'll have to start listening out for more alarm calls. Our memory seems a bit rusty today. I also don't know where those male leopard tracks go now. Okay, we'll have to do some birding again. Now, talking about alarm calls, Ghost Chooser, you're saying which one, I suppose they're saying which one would give us the most reliable alarming alerts. Something like a kudu, very good. They don't normally call for nonsense like the squirrels. Never listen to the squirrels. So I'm going to go with something like a kudu is fairly reliable. And you see, vervet monkeys are very reliable too, but they alarm for snakes and for raptors as well, so for birds of prey. So you don't really know what you're getting yourself into. So yeah, for me, it's going to be a kudu or an inyala, something along those lines. At this time of the year, you can get quite excited. You'll often see us quickly turning our cars off to listen, because we'll hear impala, and it won't be an impala alarming. It will be the male impala rutting and making that sort of snortling noise. It's a new word for some of you if you are new to the show. Snortling. Snortling is the gurgling, grunting sound that an impala ram makes when he ruts. So we will try and listen out for it, and then if we hear it, we'll let you listen to the snortling sound. And then, of course, they're not alarming for anything. They're just shouting to the other males, "Oh, hello, squirrel. Go, go, go." It stopped, thankfully. Where did he go? Oh, there he is, to the left. You got him. There's a little squirrel. Hello. That's the alarm call of a squirrel. Oh, my goodness. There's a springy squirrel, that one. hurdles. You should do hurdles at the Olympics. Well done. Now, got itself up on a little bit of high ground there, just to check that everything's okay. Now, the other day I was watching a squirrel in camp. It was quite funny. It didn't know I was sitting in my room. It's going to come out the other side. And it had its nose to the floor. It was desperately looking for something. There it goes. So they must have an incredible sense of smell. I wonder how far away they could smell from things. There you go. Just checking the flowers. Smelling the flowers, the roses. Not the roses. That one was a Weltheria. Now it looks like some flannel weed. I like the way it keeps popping its head up. Just moving very, very swiftly through there. Looking for nuts or seeds or anything that it can gobble. What'd you get? Maybe a little seed pod or something. Maybe eating a little flower. No, it looked like it had something in its mouth. Taking it with them. I think those are flannel weeds that are growing there. Too small to be elephant ears. It looks like it's feeding on something there. Maybe the little new buds of the flowers, perhaps? Yeah, it looks like it, hey? Those are the little buds. Just taking one or two little nibbles. So again, squirrels, very, very diet. They'll take whatever is around. Obviously, they're not meat eaters, though. They'll eat nuts, seeds, flowers when they can. I've seen them eating a little bit of fruit, but they do prefer the seed type. Yeah, just eating little buds. Very cool. I don't think I've actually ever seen them do this before. Really not. Very busy. Now, there's lots of them that live here. There's some great marula trees for the squirrels to roost and live in. I think they feel quite safe here. Of course, nice tall grass for them to hide around in. Lots of fallen over trees, or maybe not fallen over, maybe pushed over trees by the elephants. Very nice. Now, there's just a vehicle coming, so I'm not going to move right now. We'll wait for them to pass, and while I wait for them to pass, I'm going to send you back to Brent.
Well, we found more tracks in the little river system there, and all of them are heading east. So I'm just going to go up onto Cheetah Cut Line again, just double check that they haven't crossed. What I think has probably happened is that Thandi has left Tlalamba somewhere in those really inaccessible thickets, and she's gone off hunting. So I just want to double check that. So what we're going to do is we're going to head up to Cheetah Cut Line, make sure there's no tracks crossing, and then come back down Leadwood. And I've just got a gut feel to check the southern Mulwati. Now there is something that people don't often think about. Since we talk about alarm calls all the time, Sitting Bull is wondering, do any of the predators have alarm calls? Yes, cheetah have an alarm call. Wild dog also have an alarm call. Wild dog alarm call is very distinct. It's a little bark, and they don't very much bark very often. The only real bark is an alarm call. Cheetahs are sort of a high-pitched squeak, for lack of a better description, a high-pitched chirp, actually. They do alarm calls, and that's generally only, coalitions, if one member hasn't spotted the line, and often females with cubs will give off alarm calls. Okay. Let's check carefully now. Paula, not the alarm calls from monitor lizards and chameleons, or actually reptiles in general, don't really happen. Chameleons can scream. That's generally when they're being devoured by something. And monitor lizards have it's not an alarm call, it's a defensive hiss when approached by a predator. They puff themselves up and go. But I wouldn't call those alarm calls per se. I think she's done exactly what I thought. So I'm pretty sure Thandi's left. Is that too close for you there, no? Thandi's left Tlalamba. I thought she might have done that. somewhere down there, and she's headed off on the hunt. So she's passed through one of these really grassy areas. She pops out here. That's probably the most clear track there. And dup, dup, dup. And into Torchwood. So she's crossed over here. Oh dear. Well, that's how it goes. At least little Tlalamba is there, so hopefully she fails in her hunts behind me, and on her way back to the cub manages to catch something inside Djuma. So I'm going to just do a loop around. You never know, she might have already be on her way back, because those tracks look like they're from probably middle of the day, so quite a few hours ago, so she could easily be on her way back toward Tlalamba, especially if she's caught something. Okay. We can always do some birding in the meantime while we hang about the area. Tlalamba, Aunt Joe. Tlalamba is how you say Tandi's cub's name. Tlalamba. Tlalamba. Dave, can you say it?
Tlalamba.
Tlalamba. Nakhuluma kahle mfowethu. So here we go here. So there's no sign of Tlalamba's tracks here, only hers. As I say, she could have done a big loop and gone back towards that area. There are some patches where it's near impossible to see tracks due to the thickness of the grass on some of the roads. Anyway, well, at least we have an idea of where she's gone. I haven't given up yet, so I'm going to just do some slow cruises through the area. I think she might be on her way back, especially if she's made a kill. I'm very confident that little Tlalamba is still in this little river system here somewhere. So in the meantime, let's go see what Madam McCurdy's plans are.
Off-roading, off-roading. Oh, slender mongoose. We're not going to show you that because it was too difficult to see. We're trying to get to the barn owl nest again. Yeah. Are you ready, VM? Would you like to aim? VM has to aim, and then I have to park appropriately. You tell me when, because I'm going to make sure we don't drive off the edge. Oh no. A little bit back. Sorry, everybody. Just bear with us. A little bit back. Are these leaves grown more? How dare they? We get the scissors. Okay, we're gonna just have to deal. Okay, now I'm gonna look for the spotlight. Where are you? Where are you? Sorry, I'm bouncing around now. I don't even know where the hole in the nest is. I don't think we're gonna see anything, Bim. I think it might be a bit too light still here. Yeah. I think the other afternoon when we were here, it was just the perfect amount of overcast, and then we could shine the light. It was also a lot later than what it is now, but there are 3 barn owl chicks living in that tree. Just not for us to see today, I'm afraid. So, actually, I want to show you something. I just have to open my mobile device very quickly. Where I saw a really cool thing. Obviously, barn owls, you get them all, in a lot of different places, and saw something really cool. I found this guide to aging young barn owls, which was really quite cool, and I'm going to try and balance my phone. And when we saw them, I think they must have been about over there, so almost ready to fledge completely. I'm surprised they haven't left the nest, so at about 56 days or so. Oops, sorry, not quite completely adult-like just yet. I think they were somewhere around there, so almost ready to leave home. So we better try and make the most of it and come and look for these owls as often as we can. Pity that it's just too bright. Sorry, everybody, but we will try again at some point. Okay, now I'm going to try and get out here. Now, Robert, I suppose this is a hard one. I don't think I would be birding if I could find cats. Just a little, didn't want to get scratched there. I scared a scrub hare out. Hello. Diurnal scrub hair. So I like a bit of both. I mean, birding is obviously really cool, especially if you're in a new area where maybe you haven't, you're going to find a new bird of sorts. That's pretty cool. Otherwise, I would prefer to be looking at a leopard or a lion or something like that, or even something like this, a scrub hare, something out of the ordinary. And we know scrub hares are typically diurnal, so it was just resting under some trees, very fluffy. It will probably go back underneath that shrub in a little while. I'm sorry for making you scared, and I hope that barn owl doesn't come out and get you. I'm actually going to move, because I would feel absolutely horrendous if a barn owl came out and swooped down and snatched up that scrub hare now, because it would have been my fault. So I'm going to leave it, because I don't want to be held accountable. Sorry, go back and hide away. I think it will. Let's check here to see if the adults are here. They might be roosting up in trees nearby. Although I'd imagine Mom and Dad would be very busy at this point. If those chicks are at that age, much older than I initially thought, then Mom's not really going to be waiting in the nest with them anymore. They're both going to be out looking for food. So I really hope that we get to see them one last time before they take off. But they'll probably go out with the adults and learn to hunt with them too. Anyways, let's go to Steve. He is apparently searching for something.
I am indeed, Taylor, and the barn owl chicks, I think, are probably the most fluffy looking things out there. Little balls of down feathers, very cute. Down feathers and eyes, that's all they really are. We've been having a little scratch around here. There's been no more alarm calls, no more sort of indications that a predator is nearby. I had a big loop looking around for some tracks, nothing at all that I can see. But this area is very, very dense. And it would be very easy to lose a leopard, even if it was walking in the... Nothing on the road, nothing in the drainage system that I saw. And no more alarm calls. So the animals have gone very quiet. Granny pig, giraffe don't give off too much of a sound. Some people say that they are mute, but they are not. They do sometimes make noises. I have heard giraffe bellow when they're trying to be pulled down by a predator. I mean, like a proper bellow. I could not mimic it for you. It was a very sad sound, or very loud, frightening sound. And then also, when they are being torn apart, they make a very loud bellowing sound, which is not a very pleasant sound, but... Sorry about that, Ferg. Almost sounded like the crunching of those branches behind me. No, I'm only joking. So they do make sound from time to time, but they're generally regarded as the mute animals of the bush. But they don't often make any noise at all. They just kind of look at a predator. They kind of stare in his direction. And then all the other animals can see the giraffe. And giraffe are very reliable, though. They might not make an alarm call, but when you see giraffe all standing, all looking at something, then there's a very good chance that there is something moving across the landscape. And like I said, once animals have been spotted by predators, they pretend they don't care, and they just... once predators have been spotted by prey animals, they generally just move off. Because you can't stalk up to an animal that is aware of you. That just doesn't work. It wouldn't be called stalking then. Twin Dams, Shabamu Road. Thank you very much. Update from Taylor's potentially Tingana might be moving into Djuma. So we're going to move out of this area now because there's been no more sounds or signs. So maybe we'll go and find the Duke 2 nights in a row. I think, Ferg, that could work for us. But we're going to go this way around purely because we haven't gone all this way around yet. And maybe, just maybe, we could still be lucky. Hear the sound of a southern boo-boo over here. Of course, as soon as we stop the car, he stops. That is the call he was making, but he does not feel the need to talk back to me today. Most of the time he can't get them to stop calling, and now as soon as I would like you to hear him, he stops calling. So we're going to go through this drainage. We might lose some signal. Let's go over to Brent for an update.
Well, hello. Still no luck, but I haven't given up. As I say, I think Tandy's going to loop back around towards this area. So I think we're going to have a quick look around Twin Dams. I've just got a gut feeling I should check the Mawati from the southern boundary. I don't know why, but I trust my gut. It has proved very useful in terms of finding animals over the years. Now, we call it gut, but it's probably instinct and a combination of many years spent working in the bush, as well as that remnant instincts that all human beings have from when we used to live on the African savannas. A lot of those instincts relate to survival. So it's amazing, when you get charged by a big cat on foot, most people think they're going to run, but they can't. They stand absolutely dead still, and that is your non-conscious decision. It's your instinct taking over to keep you safe. So with most animals, predator or not, if you run, their instinct is to chase. So that's what happens. I'm just going to scoot through here very quickly in case there's a gremlin at the bottom. Whee! Okay, we should be all good now. So it's a very interesting thing, and it's one of the things that fascinate me. I mean, in theory, well, not in theory, in fact, hominins, not hominids, which are people, hominins have been living on the African savannas for 4 million years or so, and so it is a very, very interesting thing that we have all these instinctive defenses that we don't even think about, and a lot of those instinctive defenses were developed in Africa because the migration of people out of Africa is well, the first migration is said to be at about 130,000 years ago, with various other migrations over the last couple of last couple of 100,000 years or so. There was another migration of people around 80,000 years ago. Hello, Impalala. And there was another migration of people, the most recent, and that's probably where most modern Europeans come from, at about 60,000 years ago, and another one at 30,000 years. So it all depends on basically the polar ice caps and things like that. When the land bridges were open between Africa and the Middle East. But in a lot of those circumstances, as people got more developed, if you look at probably the most ancient group of people to move out of Africa that still have those original genetic markers. Hello, Impalala. An impala makes us look like babies in terms of evolution. They've been unchanged for 1.6 million years. Oh, here we go. Battle Royale starting. Charging in. Another male. Guys, you got to be careful. There are leopards around. You keep chasing each other, you're going to end up in a tree. Lovely camera work there, Darby. So, as I was saying, it's quite interesting. So, the Papua New Guinea and Australian Aboriginals have the sort of oldest genetic markers that tie into Africa in terms of when they first left Africa. And of course, they're on at it again, Darth. Where'd they go? Snort, snort. They might charge back again soon. It's a lovely light here. No. Decided to stop chasing each other around. And they're chasing each other around without even a female in sight. So the testosterone is definitely up there. Well spotted, Darby. So it is one of the things I find most fascinating is the movement of people and our instinctive responses to animals, and how evolution has played such a major part in our daily lives that we don't even consider. The fact that we like to go home when it gets dark is an instinctive response to avoid things like lions and stuff like that. So it is absolutely amazing. And if you look at some of the recent discoveries in terms of paleoanthropology in South Africa, Homo naledi in particular, and that's been a fascinating thing, and it's also very interesting in terms of citizen science. Anyone can go 3D print those remains and have a look at them. There's a lot of alarm calls going down there. So it sounds like chin spot bat is alarming, which don't normally alarm at leopards. So I know this is the area where Taylor saw that big python, but the light is so beautiful, and Steve's got one of my favorite antelope to show you in the light.
Come on. Indeed we do. Here we have the marvellous herd of wildebeest we saw earlier, making their way down to Vuyatela Dam. And here, their behaviour showing you why they are called wild cows. Wildebeest, that is indeed Vuyatela Lodge in the background. Beautiful light playing through this long grass as the wildebeest come down for their probably twice daily drinking session before finding their way into nice open areas for the evening. Seem a little bit spooked, Ferg, don't you think? Looking a bit jumpy. Maybe they heard those alarm calls earlier, but there's a number of other animals down by the water there, other side, that don't look at all bothered by whatever was calling before. Seems to be the way with animals. They get alarmed, and then it doesn't take very long for them to relax again. It's kind of like a perpetual state that they live in. We have security, we live in security, and we don't really realize what it feels like to live on constant edge. And animals out here are constantly in potential danger, and so they live in the moment, which is a very important concept for most people to experience. And I try as much as possible to live in the moment. Take it as it comes. That's why often when you see these sort of antelope that lose their youngsters, they might lose a youngster in the same afternoon. They seem to have forgotten all about it. But it's just because they live in that constant sort of survival mode where it's eat or be eaten, or survival of the fittest. What's that, Ferg? Back to me, he said. So survival of the fittest. And you've got to drink, you've got to eat, and you've got to live. That's the way with these animals. And they come down in the herd, safety in numbers. Leah, what was the sound in the background? Sound. Oh, that's the low-profile fence for the Vuyatela Lodge. Low profile meaning it's not a tall sort of fence, but it still keeps the dangerous animals out of the camp. That is Vuyatela Lodge, just there where lots of guests come and stay. I think it is vacant this evening, but they call it low profile because it still works as an electric fence to keep dangerous animals out, but it's very low to the ground, but still serves the same purpose. But you could still have animals jumping over it, but it does keep elephants and lions and the like out, well, most of the time. Okay, well, so from our wildebeest running around in the open, let's go over to Taylor, who's got some impala doing something similar.
We've got a vampire impala. Look at that. Turn your head. It's Bang of the impala. And then everybody starts laughing. We have a nice thought it was funny. Well spotted, VM. Now, we've been sitting amongst quite a large herd of impala for, maybe the last 10 minutes now. And there's an impala ram that is snorkeling his head off. We're going to try and find him and hear him snorkeling. I said to you that I was going to try try and get you it, but it all seems to have settled down now. He might be done chasing them. Let's have a look. Where are you? Huh. Hello, ladies. All popping their heads up. I think he was snortling because there was another impala ram that I could hear snortling in the distance. But now, like I said, it seems to have stopped. Oh no. There he comes. There's Bossy Pants at the back. You might just be able to see him. Wait, there he goes. He's doing it, just very softly. Come on. Maybe when they run this way, he'll do it. The rest of them are all going to come out in this beautiful golden light in just a minute. They're taking their time. I don't know where he's trying to herd them, but it does seem like he is trying to herd them away from this thicket area. Perhaps he wants them to go out to the open now. He knows that it's time when the leopards start coming out, or the lions, or even the hyena. Oh, he's coming. There, he's doing it again. I don't know if you can hear it. He's not doing it properly. He's stopped now. He's just watching. It must be tough for these guys because they don't want that herd to get too far ahead. Oh, there he comes, and he's coming out now. And then he'll throw his head back and make the sound. Please do it just once. Matt, it's not snorting, it's snortling. I'm saying snortling on purpose because the one day by accident, instead of saying snorting, I said snortling. I was trying to describe the sound that the impala makes. And then I was like grunting and snortling. And then it's not, snortling is just stuck. Let's go up ahead and watch him. He's going to do it again, I'm sure, because when he gets out to this open plain, I'm pretty sure we saw some more impala herds. He might feel that, you know, the other male might put a little bit of pressure on him. Right, I'm going to go to the next gap. Yes, why do you do it when I'm driving? It's rude. Bossy Pants, don't you dare go back. He's just done it again. One more time. Just one more. I wish I was threatening. Well, as threatening as another impala ram could be. There's the snortling sound. Not doing it full blast. He's got the volume turned down slightly when he does it. I think he's just talking to the ladies. But there we go. There you heard the sound now. Now you can understand what I'm talking about. It's not quite snorting and it's not quite grunting either. It's something in between. Anyways, I'm going to send you across to Brent, who's got an animal that makes a sound like this.
Well, I couldn't hear what Taylor was doing, but hopefully she got close to it. And I'm pretty sure this is the little shrewdness of monkeys that have pushed Tundi and Tlalamba further up the drainage line today. So we're not far from where we last left them. And some of these jackalberry trees have a bit of a late fruit, and the monkeys are taking advantage of it. So quite a nice little troop. There's some very tiny ones. Oh, it looks like the tiny one's going to try jump.
So they are.
There you see the moving branches. There's a tiny little baby we were watching a bit earlier. He's in there. Now, South Africa's got a huge diversity when it comes to most animals except monkeys. We only have 2 species of monkeys in South Africa. We have the Vervet Monkey, which we're looking at now, and the green monkey is another name for the Vervet Monkey. And Aaron, the other monkey species we get not far from here, but they generally prefer, off he goes, chop, chop, chop. They generally prefer forested areas rather than savanna. There we go, there's some of those late jackalberry fruits I was talking about. Is the Samango monkey, which is part of the blue monkey complex. The blue monkey complex. And the Kakamega blue monkeys that we see in the Mara, the big dark shaggy ones, are close relatives to the Simango monkeys of South Africa, but they prefer quite a bit of a different climate. Oh, let me just try and move a little bit. Oh, there we go. There's the jump. That's not. Oh, mom helped the baby. Baby looked like it was going to try to jump by itself. Is that the same baby? It is. So mom has picked it up and said, no, child. I will jump you across and then you can play. So their little baby's being left behind. Oh, there it goes. Jump. Mom, wait for me. Wait for me, Mom. It's always nice to know where the monkeys are in case they start making lots of noise. Vervet Monkey, Ravinda. I'm not sure how they got the name Vervet Monkey. I will try find out for you. I'm not sure. Vervet Monkey. Green Monkey is quite self-explanatory. They do have a greenish tinge to themselves, to them. But I will try to find out where Vervet comes from. I'm not 100% sure. Maybe it's from Var, green, in French. I don't know. Oh, so exciting! Something that I have been missing for the last 10 days or so on Djuma, and Steve has managed to find them.
Look at what we've got. The first breeding herd of elephant I've seen in a month and a bit. She's trying to camouflage herself, the little one, by putting grass on its back. The elephant have come back in. We had some tracks now who were moving into the area. Taylor suggested because apparently Tingana's on his way back in, and we had some tracks coming north already, which we went past, which is the direction these ones are going. And as I came around the corner, we saw this herd moving the same direction. So it's not the first herd. There's more of them that have already crossed the road. So I think that they have now come back from further south, maybe towards the Gabbros and sort of the eastern side of the Singita area in the Sabi Sands. And now they're here to reap the rewards of all the beautiful green grass under the trees. And obviously the leaves as well, as this one is showing us. Yay, I'm so happy. Elephants, haven't seen them in some time, and they appeared to me, because she looks quite wet on the shoulder, that they have come from Shabamu Pan, which is where we headed to now to see if the Duke of Djuma is heading back in. And the 2 or 3 times I've been with Tingana, he's been moving along the road we're going to go into now, scent marking. So if in fact he is on his way back into Djuma, a good chance is he'll carry himself all the way along that road, scent marking, to displace Hukumuri, who we've also found on that road. So wonder, the reason why that one had grass on its back is because it was busy eating the grass, and then it tried to throw it over its head, similar to what I do after I've tasted grass and things for you on TV, except it didn't land on my back, but it landed on that one's back. It's just a gesture, really. It was busy feeding. You can see what it's doing now. It's pulling off the inflorescence and eating the seeds. And once it's eaten the seeds, that sort of cellulose-rich, long, stalky sort of part of the grass, it's useless to the elephant, really, and it'll either just drop it on the floor. Sometimes they grab it with their trunk, and then what happened, looks like it might eat it this time. That is very sweet. Must be the sweet buffalo grass. Okay, well, it appears as if Taylor's got another update about Tingana the Duke. So these elephants are about to move out of our visual, about to lose sight of them, should I say. I shouldn't say visual. James really doesn't like it when I say visual. We're going to lose sight of them as they disappear into the bushes. Well, let's go see if we can find the Duke. I'm excited. Elephants, they are coming back. I saw a couple tracks, and I thought, we are headed off to find the Duke. We're not going to off-road for Ellie's, because that's just not really right. We'll just stay on the road. We're just off the road for them there, and marvelous that they are back, and they're moving north directly towards our camp. So, well, let's In the meantime, while we turn onto this road, go down to find the Duke, let's go back over to Taylor and see what she's up to.
Smiling. We're going to Vuyatela Dam, not Vuyatela Dam, to Chitwa Dam again to see what we can see. We're just driving along basically the edge of Chitwa Lodge. It's the elephant wire that is beautifully illuminated in the golden light. It's very pretty this evening. I've never seen it so gorgeous. Of course, not stopping any leopards or buffalo or hippo from going into the lodge. Oh, there was a little mousie. Did you see that, VM? It was so small, but I think it's gone now. There was a tiny little mouse or shrew or something about that big. It just went boop, 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 across the road. We'll never see it again, though. It was too small to find in the grass. There was a giant kingfisher that I'd like to try and find again at the dam. Diego? You are wondering if this is really live? Yeah? What's the time? It is 5:10 Central African Time, 18th of April, 2018. My name is Taylor, because you must be a new viewer. VM is on camera with me, and we are at Chitwa in the northeastern corner of South Africa in the Sabi Sand. Do you believe us now? Now you can ask me a question if you don't believe, but I feel like that would have been enough though. And where are our new friends? Like Ninja Bitcoin? They didn't believe that we were real or not, and then they can't stop watching. Well, I haven't heard any questions from you for a while. Oh, gossip. What gossip is going on at the dam down here? Let's go and have a look. I see some very excited hippos. Excuse me, Egyptian geese. Thank you. Coming through. Oh, Ninja Bitcoin was watching earlier. That was my new friend. Someone try and get them back. So little three-banded plover. We've got hippos to see. So I'm trying to make sure I don't drive over the sticks and break the car. I wouldn't be too popular. So we'll look at the hippos first because they were quite rowdy. I'm a believer, says Bitcoin Ninja. Yeah, you are a believer. No, that's Justin Bieber. Believer, huh? We don't talk about that for sure. Right. Oh, hello, Egyptian geese, who are not so little anymore. They've grown up quite a bit. Oh, but that's way more important, I agree, BM. I would have done exactly what you just did. Did you see the importance there? How VM went, no Egyptian geese, and straight, panning straight to the hippo. I would have done exactly the same thing. I would have been a lot more steady. Why am I seeing a pink belly? Are you doing a little rollover? Very nice. I love it when the hippos are so active. There's one on the right that's about to it's opening its mouth sideways. We don't know where to look. It's all happening. Are we going to be able to watch those little dumplings come out of the water and play on the island again? That was fun the other night. It was just a pity it was so far away. Okay, who's going to splash next? I can't see any of the little ones playing just yet, but I think that they will get there eventually with time. No one's gone back to sleep. They've all got lots of scars in them, but I suppose when you're living in close proximity, you do get annoyed with one another relatively easily. And like we were chatting about the other day, hippos have got a very, you can see the scratches on them. I'm listening, trying to figure out who's going to be. It's hard to try and look at them all at the same time. This is where I wish I was a chameleon and I could keep one eye on one thing and the other eye on another. Typical. Now they've gone quiet. There we go. Thank you, Hippo. Have we ever done a count how many yawns we've got in one drive? We'll have to do that next time, starting from when I come to Chitwa the first time. We will be doing that competition. See, you've got to have all sorts of rules. Then can you count the same hippo? Like this little one's just given us about 500 yawn, and it's only done one proper yawn. And then some sort of half-hearted ones. There's another one on the right that's opening its mouth now. Goodness, we've had 3 in the space of like 2 minutes. Looking quite good, in fact. It's always nice. We're lucky that we get to see this so often. And we really are. Somebody else that I wish luck upon is Steve. I hope he manages to find Tengane, because from what I could hear on the Western Channel, he had indeed crossed into Voyatela. So let's hope he gets him. Okay, what did we come here for, VM? We didn't come for hippos this time.
Leopards.
Leopards? No, I came for a giant kingfisher, but I've seen something better than a giant kingfisher. Are you ready? I'm just going to quickly check up on tops of these trees, because I know that the giant kingfisher does like to sit here, but there's a saddle-billed stork. I haven't seen a saddle-billed stork in a long time. I think the last time I saw one was flying. It was also in Djuma, but it was so far away. Where? And that's not my right. 3 o'clock. Why can't I see it, BM? Oh, there. I was so confused. There is a giant fish eagle, as VM called it. Oh, that's beautiful. Looking towards us. We'll do a quick bit of birding while we've got some light. It was quite nice to see. And a different spot, normally up on a dead tree or in the marula trees. This time sitting on a small shrub on the island. This sounds like a reality TV show, hey? The Island. Is it a reality TV show? I don't know. I don't watch much TV. But a beautiful species, aren't you? Okay, next bird. We've been seeing lots of fish eagles lately. Ooh, who's scared them animals down there? There's some Inyala racing away. We'll go there next. Wild dogs! Wild dogs! Wild dogs! Yes! Hold on, hold on! I need to call it in on the radio. Any stations can copy me here. Pack of wild dogs. Chitwa open, heading to room 11. I'm going to be radioed down, but 2 vehicles can come and join. Highly mobile east. Wild dogs! Wild dogs, wild dogs, wild dogs. There's one. Yay! VM, how happy are you right now? I'm so excited. You don't understand how excited I am. I literally saw those in, yeah, that's exactly why we came to the dam, not for a giant kingfisher. That was so cool. I just saw those in Inyala running and I thought, no ways, no ways. What is going on? Oh, here come the blacksmith lapwings. They're going to bop the dogs on the head. Look at that. Those blacksmith lapwings don't tolerate anybody now, do they? I can just see 2 dogs at the moment. I can't see any more. Now they're looking at the guinea fowl are running. Where are you guys running? You were running to the wild dogs. I don't know if unless the dogs are really desperate, would they go for something like a guinea fowl? Just the 2. I'm just checking around me to see if there are any more that have run the other side. Goodness, whoever's still in Chitwa Lodge must have thought, what on earth is going on? Oh, this is amazing. I'm so happy. They're walking right here. Ashley, the greatest thing about wild dogs is that they are able to, well, go anywhere, in fact. It's pretty amazing. They don't need a certain type of terrain. They can go wherever they please. They can adapt really, really easily, which is epic. And they can run on flat ground. You see, they don't stalk, so they don't need to, of course, worry like leopards and lions if there's not much vegetation around. I don't know if it's just the 2 of them. I'm going to try and get around again. I'm going to stay below them, Vian, so we get a nice view with the golden light. Sorry, I'm just so excited because if they start running again, I need to plan my route properly. Sorry, Ashley. So, unlike lions and leopards, which can also adapt very well, obviously animals living in the desert, it makes it very difficult for them. Oh, that's stunning. To try and sneak away. Wild dogs will probably do just fine. And they're running now towards a not really running, they're just stopping and looking. There's a herd of waterbuck. and one wildebeest. But they've all seeing them. Ooh, James Richard, you said Wild Dog Wednesday is a success. I agree with you. Remember that amazing sighting we had with I almost got so excited, I'm stuttering now, with the waterbuck backlit? I think this might top it. Let's see. I don't know if they're going to go for the wildebeest. That's a really big wildebeest. And it's just the two of them. That is gorgeous. Yeah, everybody's very unsettled at the moment. Very, very unsettled. Blacksmith lapwings flapping away. Wildebeest walking towards the dogs to make sure that they know that they've been seen. The waterbuck were doing the same thing. Curse, just to let you know, these dogs are heading back northwest, and they're only about 200 meters from the boundary, and crossing into the Olgari, and it's very thick. I'm going to race up ahead because we're quite far behind them now. So just letting Kirsty know that they are close to the boundary. Does anyone know which wild dogs they are? And James Richard, you said Wild Dog Wednesday complete. I can't remember if I've already said that or not. Let me turn this radio on. Just an update, I've just got 2 wild dogs here. They're still Chitwa open mobile back towards JC Brinkpan. Still just one on lock. Copy. Just quickly updating Sheldon. Let me just pick the pace up through here because otherwise we're going to lose these dogs quickly. Lucky I missed that tortoise. They're on the move. They're running. Turn this game down radio on. Hold on, William. Just trying to catch up to them. It's always quite difficult to try and navigate through that. Hold on, William, watch those trees. They're so quick when they get on the move. Mita, you said, did somebody say Ferrari Safari? Always. Yeah, okay, we're going to stop here. Okay, they're going to come out. So we're going to just view them in between the gaps. And they're going to walk out in about 2 seconds. And they come trotting past the car. Oh, interesting. The rest of the pack might be elsewhere. You know, I have seen about 2 or 3 before in the same area. Hey doggies, not afraid of the vehicles whatsoever. I've seen something. There's an impala on it. There's a group of impala. They're running off to the west. Let's see if the dogs have picked up on them. Sorry, VM was just fixing the aerial, fallen down. Hold on, VM. I think they're going. Impala already spotted them though. They're not. You notice how quiet everybody's being. No one's really alarming. Except those birds. They're just trotting and they can outmaneuver us and outrun us so quickly. They're going to cross out. Sheldon, they're now mobile across Shirombe towards Torchwood. I'm in between the cut line and Shirombe. Okay, hold on. Meow. Thank goodness for clear roads. Sorry, VM, hold on. Oh, there they go into Torchwood. You still just see the 2. And they are. We'll sit here, we'll wait. They might come back. They could quite easily bounce back again. We know what dogs are like. They're just waiting to hear something. Here they come. Still just the 2 of them. No sign of any more dogs. Quite interesting. I'm a bit confused with what's going on at the moment with the packs that we're seeing. I don't know if this is the pack of dogs we were talking about this morning that Aubrey, one of the Djuma guides, had seen along the fence line. He said a pack. I think he would have told me if there were just 2 dogs. So perhaps this is someone else. Brent is going to be so jealous. I feel so sad for him. Well, we can tell Brent, cursed, that they're on Torchwood approaching Cheetah Cut Line, and if he wants to come here, he can, and then he can quite happily take over the sighting, because I know how excited Brent is to see wild dogs, and if he could get a view of them, I would absolutely love for that. Apparently Brent is Ferrari sparring to us now. He is so desperate to see them. I really hope he does get them. We'll just stick with them and keep up with it. And then as soon as, because they are going straight towards Cheetah Cut Line now, and just in Torchwood. Now they're trying to flush out Dacre, an Impala, Bushbuck, and Inyala, something. The Impala are too quick for them. I think they came in maybe a bit noisy, and everybody gave their presence around. My goodness, at one point when we first realized that they were actually dogs. Okay, so they're on Gari Main now. This could go either way for us. I'm going to let Sheldon go in front because he hasn't had a look yet. So we'll let him go, and then we'll follow after him. So we're on Gari Main. This is going to go either way. They're either going to go into Vuyatela or they're going to go into Little Gari, which we can't traverse. And then the only thing now is, of course, because you're on a boundary road, there are going to be lots of people on the roads. Are you okay there, VM? Sorry, I made VM bounce around, but at least you got to see wild dogs, hey, VM? Our aerial's giving us some trouble, so VM's just cable tie. You won't believe what you can do with a cable tie. Amazing thing. In case we do need a Ferrari safari again. They're now chasing, there's an Impala Ram. Just up ahead, he's bouncing about though. Not interested in him. Not interested in him just yet. Coast, where is Brenty? Okay, they're going, they might go drink at the Pan. Let's go have a look. They drink at, this is a tough thing with wild dogs. Now we're on, and I know what they're probably going to do. They're probably going to go west into Little Gowrie. Right, let's go across to Brent and see how quick he's moving.
Moving very quickly. I've seen wild dogs in over a year. I'm very, very excited. Hold on. I'm coming. I think Taylor should be just up ahead of us now, and hopefully the dogs are going to move us. Big bump coming. Might lose a cameraman, but that's okay as long as we wild dogs. So I